Hi, my name is Aya, you're watching Aya Reads, and I'm here to jump on the trend of doing these read or unhaul videos. I do have to say, I can actually prove it with the clips because the first clip was filmed in November of 2024. I was planning on uploading this video. I believe I was planning on uploading it in February or March, and I did my reaction for it at the end of the year in November. And like I said, you can check my Goodreads because one of the updates is literally in December. The reason I am qualifying this is because my version of Read and Unhaul is gonna be watching a decade-old book haul, and I basically have to read every book in that book haul or unhaul it. And I know G over at the Book Roast recently started doing her own version of doing the exact same thing, which I'll leave that linked for you. And I would completely be fine if I actually, I don't mind taking inspiration from other people. So if that was the case, that I was inspired by her and I wanted to do the same thing, I would tell you and I would be completely honest about that. But I have to say my inspiration was not that, because when I filmed my intro for it, she had not done her version yet. What actually inspired me was, of course, all the other Read and Unhaul videos like Becca, like Gavin. And I remember Kayla over at Books and Lala used to do a similar concept years and years and years ago, and I was obsessed with that video project by her, which I'll leave one of the videos linked for you, where she had to watch a video, a book haul of a year ago, and she had to basically do either unhaul the books or read them. So that was actually my inspiration, but I'll just leave everybody that has done a similar concept linked for you that I know of. Not everybody. I'll leave the people I mentioned in the description. So definitely check all of them out. Definitely check out G's video because I definitely enjoy her take as well. I'm not gonna be as chronological as her. So this one is one that is 10 years ago. I don't know. I might do the next one after this one, or I might pick a book haul I did 5 years ago. I don't know. I have not structured that yet. Also, since I filmed some of these months and months and months ago, I'm gonna watch it right now, and if I have any things I want to add to things I say in this video, I will come back and mention that. Let me see if I wanted to address anything else. Oh yeah, I did want to say that I want to have one save per video, basically, per book haul, because this video, as much as I didn't want to do that, is going to be split in 2 videos since I want to upload this video now. I don't want to drag it on since it already has been drug on for so long. And the part 2 will be either in September or October. And at the end of the video, I'll tell you which books will be the ones that I will read in the next video. Okay, I actually made a mistake. I did not film this clip in November. I filmed it in December, which I do say in my reaction video. So let's cue to the reaction video. Okay, I am very scared, honestly, because this book haul, which was uploaded on November 23rd of 2014. And as I'm filming this, it's actually December 15th because I want to give myself a lot of time to either read these books or decide that I'm gonna unhaul them. But this title is Huge Book Haul, 40 Books. What? So I don't think that I will have read a lot of these books. So I have a notebook here and I'm just gonna turf how many books I read, how many books I've already unhauled, and how many books I have not read. Okay, so I just realized I used the word turf, which that obviously has a different connotation. In Dutch, we call that line where you do 1, 2, 3, 4, and then across, we call that turfa. I don't know what the English word is for it, but anyway, I'm just gonna count which books I read and which ones I didn't. I'm gonna watch this video and you're gonna see it here on the screen, and let's see. Hi there, I'm here to do a book haul, and I just want to warn you ahead of time, this is a lot of books. So this will be a very long video, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, sit back and enjoy. I kind of tried to group all the series together, but other than that, this is in no particular order. So all of the first together. Books I got is an entire series. Okay, we're gonna need to talk about that. What I'm gonna do if I haul an entire series. It's the Heroes of Olympus series, which consists of The Lost Hero by Rick Riordan, The Son of Neptune, The Mark of Athena, The House of Hades, The Blood of Olympus, and last but most certainly not least, is Percy Jackson's Greek Gods. Now, this isn't technically part of the Heroes of Olympus, but it's part of the Percy Jackson... Okay, this sucks because I knew that I was gonna probably wanna read this series at some point, but I wanted to reread the Percy Jackson series first. So I still wanna do that because I haven't read that series in such a long time that I really wanna remind myself of everything that happened. And I think I have made a decision already because, like I said, we need to talk about what I'm gonna do if I haul an entire series. And since I am very... Like, once I start a series, it's gonna be on my series spreadsheet for years until I actually finish it. So I think for this project, I have to read at least the first book, or at least like the next book that I have not read in a series yet. Because like I said, I do want to reread the Percy Jackson series. And the plan is to upload this in March. We've only started this video. I know I cannot finish like 10 books before March, with all my other reading obligations and also all the other books that are going to come up in this. And I don't want to unhaul this series. So anyway, definitely let me know if it's cheating, but I'm going to try to read as many of the books as I can, but I know I cannot finish all of them, plus reread the Percy Jackson series. So we'll see. Okay, so this is going to be my one save. The Greek hero book, I will still read. Spoiler warning, it's going to be in the next video. But the Heroes of Olympus, I'm just going to save it because I really want to reread the entire Percy Jackson series before getting to this one, because it has been years and years and years since I read that series. So I don't want to start the Heroes of Olympus without having reread Percy Jackson. And I'm fine with it just being sat on my shelf unread until I do that. So this is going to be my one save. The Lost Hero will be my one save. This is an entire book told from Percy's perspective about the Greek gods. First of all, gorgeous. First of all, gorgeous. I also got Gates of Thread and Stone by Lori M. Lee. Okay, so far... 7 books I've not read yet. So I still own this one, I believe. Yeah, I have no idea what this is about either. This is Inside the Dust Jacket, which, if I'm honest, is the only reason I got it in hardback. Because, you know, if you do stuff like that, I will buy your book in hardback. Just saying. This is fantastic. I don't really know what it's about. I know that it has this, whatever that is. It's not a map. Well, sort of a map. Let me just go through the book haul first, and then I'm going to grab all the books, and then we're going to look together to see which ones I want to keep and which ones I want to unhaul. This one is, I guess, a big contender of unhauling because I haven't heard a lot of people talk about this book. This book I got is The Winner's Curse by Marie Rutkowski. First of all, read this one. You're going to hear this a lot, but pretty cover. Gorgeous cover. I guess I've not changed. Yes, I have read The Winner's Curse. I still own it, but I obviously don't have to unhaul it if I don't want to. And I got The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. Yes, I have read The Raven Boys, and it's one of my favorite series of all time. So I don't know when I actually read it, but it must have been a couple years later. It comes out. My True Love Gave to Me by Stephanie Perkins and various other authors. Yes, I've read this one. I believe I have unhauled it since, but I did read it, so that's good for me. Snow Like Ashes by Sarah Roche. I am currently reading this book. I'm about halfway through. Yes, I was reading it while filming this, so I have read this one. But I am actually debating whether or not I should actually unhaul. I'm going to do an unhaul. I probably have already done it by the time you actually get to watch this video. But I'm planning on unhauling like books I've already read that I haven't really loved that much. I do know that it's a series I have not finished yet. The Archived by Victoria Schwab. I heard great things about this book from Jessie the Reader. I believe everybody heard great things about this from Jessie the Reader. Yes, read this one. Technically, it's a series I have not finished yet, but I did read The Archived. Talon by Julie Kagawa. Nope, not read this one yet. This is about dragons, and the cover feels like scales, which is very cool. I don't know if I still own this one, but I have not read it yet. I also got The Young Elites by Marie Lu. Again, a new release by a popular young adult author. Also have not read this one yet. I do still own this one.
I own her Legend trilogy, which I'm planning on reading very, very soon.
Which I'm planning on reading very, very soon. I still have not read that book yet. So
I got The Iron Trowel by Cassandra Clare and Holly Black. Now this one, I'm very on the fence about.
Oh, I was on the fence about it back then?
Because it has very, very mixed reviews. Like, I believe there were more people who didn't enjoy it than people who did enjoy it.
Yeah. Okay, so I believe I have already unhauled this. And if not, I for sure will be unhauling it in this video because I have no interest in this.
The Graveyard Book
no.
by Neil Gaiman.
I have not read this book yet. And I believe I tried to read it one Halloween and I wasn't in the mood. So yeah, I guess I'm going to be reading it, but not during Halloween. So for The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman, I have unhauled every Neil Gaiman book I own. So back when I filmed this, I didn't hear about the allegations against him. So I just assumed I was going to read it. But now I know and I have no interest. So will not be reading this book for this vlog, or I don't think I'll be reading it ever.
I got The Shock of the Fall by Nathan Filer.
Yeah,
and I believe...
So far, I've only read 5. Not a good score.
This one is about someone who I believe has psychological issues, and considering I'm studying psychology at uni, I find this very interesting. I'm not sure, so don't quote me on that, but I think that's what I heard. Very interested, like I said, psychology is my jam, so yeah.
Psychology is my jam.
Breakable by Tamara Weber. So I read Easy this month, and I talked about it in my October wrap-up. I loved Easy.
I already unhauled this. Yes, I did love Easy, but like it has been years, so I just stopped. Like I just never finished with this series.
More Than This by Jane McLean.
Technically, this is what I'm reading right now.
I heard a lot of good things about this from the Bookish Gal.
The Bookish Gal? I don't think she makes videos anymore. I don't know if I still own this one. I think I do. Like, this is a book that I would read now, so this is good. Although I do have to say, I read a Jane McLean, like it was an arc. I hated that book. So we'll see if I like this one.
I got 2 books by Jandy Nelson. I believe they are her only 2 books. The first one is The Sky is Everywhere.
Sky is Everywhere, I've not read.
I'll Give You the Sun by Jandy Nelson.
Let me actually check. I don't think I've read this one. No. I don't know why I buy these books and then don't read them.
I got the Under the Never Sky trilogy by Veronica Rossi. The first one, Under the Never Sky. Second one, Through the Evernight. And the last one, Into the Still Blue. Now.
So I read Under the Never Sky, but I never continued on. So I guess the plan is to read then at least the second book, maybe finish it off.
And I got a duology, The Program and The Treatment by Suzanne Young.
Yep, have not read those either. Listen, these books I know I would have loved had I read it back then. And now, a decade later, I just know the chances of me actually loving these books are just slimmer.
Now, the reason I got these in hardback is for one reason and one reason alone. This. That is the reason
I have
why
not
I got
changed.
Hardback.
I've
Look
not
at
changed.
him. He's perfect.
I have not changed. Yep.
Pretty, I think. But these are kind of my special books. The first one is Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. I already own this one.
I have read it.
I've already read it. All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. I've heard great...
So this one I have not read, even though it was on my top books to read in 2024. So, yeah. Maybe I can read it in December and still have read it for that challenge.
Very interesting, sounds very heartbreaking, and sounds like a perfect winter read. I got Outlander by Diana Gabaldon. I heard great things about this from a lot of people here on BookTube.
Oh my god,
I am currently watching...
As much as I think I will love it, because Jen over at the Book Refuge obviously loved this book, but it starts a ginormous series. The first book is very, very long, and I need to unhaul some of these. I cannot physically read all of them. So let's be strict, because I'm gonna have to read Outlander. Cry.
It takes place in Scotland. I also got The Princess Bride by William Goldman.
Oh my god, I hate myself. Like, truly. Nope. I've not read this yet, obviously. Maybe I'll watch the movie first.
Blankets by Craig Thompson. I
don't know. Have I read this book? Okay, so this is a graphic novel, so at least there's that. No, I've not read it, but it's a graphic novel, so...
Ed Sheeran, A Visual Journey. I love Ed Sheeran. I went to his concert. He's amazing.
I unhauled this one.
Another big book. I like big books and I cannot lie. The World of Ice and Fire by George R. R. Martin.
Apparently I like big books and I cannot lie, yet I don't like reading big books, okay? I have not read this. Okay. This is kind of embarrassing. Like, more than half I still own and I have not read. Let me grab all the books and then I'm gonna do the tally and tell you how many books I actually still own, have not read. So my camera is about dying because it's sick of my shit. So I will be back in a little while with the final embarrassing tally. So I found all the books and I cannot even hold them up. That's how many books I have. So in the end, I had 23 books that I still own and had not read yet out of 40. 14 books that I did read and 3 books that I unhauled without having read them. So basically I looked at all these books and yes, I will only be reading the first book or the next book in a series for this challenge. Also, I looked up every book on Goodreads and really thought of what I wanted to do with these books. So only 2 books I'm still unsure about. The other ones I am sure I want to at least try them or I'm going to unhaul them without having read them. Okay, so let's actually start with the books I'm going to unhaul. So the first 2 books are actually Through the Evernight, which means Into the Still Blue I'm also going to unhaul. So I read Under the Never Sky in 2017 and I have never really found myself thinking about this series. It was still on my series spreadsheet. My series spreadsheet. I'm tired, guys. I filmed a lot today and I removed it now to DNF. This is also a series that has not really stood the test of time as far as BookTube is concerned. So I feel good about just having read the first book and unhauling it, and I don't think I'm missing out on a good, amazing series by never finishing it. Also, Gates of Thread and Stone, as much as I still think, I don't know, I always like if the hardback has something on it. This only has a 3.65 average rating. I haven't heard anything about this book really ever since I hauled it myself. So it's just collecting dust on my shelf, so I'm just gonna unhaul it. Now for the books I am for sure gonna be reading. The first book, of course, The Lost Hero. I'm only gonna be reading this one. I'm still debating whether or not I wanna reread the Percy Jackson series first, so I still have time to think about it. Maybe I will start my reread during the end of December since I'm rereading books in that time period anyway, so we'll see. But for sure, I will be reading this one. I'll Give You the Sun by Jandy Nelson. This one, as much as young adult contemporary really is not my genre, and I was, before starting filming this video, I already knew in my mind probably most of the contemporary young adult books I was gonna unhaul right away. But this one, I don't know, I feel like it just stands the test of time and it seems a little bit different than the rest. So I wanna at least start it. With all of these books, by the way, if that was not clear, I'll give each and every book like between 50 to 100 pages. If I'm not vibing, I will be DNFing pretty quickly, so we'll see with this one. The Young Elites. I do want to try and give every young adult fantasy or young adult sci-fi at least a chance, so definitely going to be reading this one. Same goes for Talon for the same reason. All the Light We Cannot See is a book that is a adult historical fiction, so definitely a book that I would pick up now on my own anyway. And this one has pretty short chapters, so for sure I'll be reading this one. The Shock of the Fall, again, I believe this is still like an adult book. Oh, and it seems like this has mixed media in some way, so hopefully I will fly through this one. More Than This is definitely what I read nowadays, except something from a decade ago. Let me actually see when this was published. 2013. Actually, I think by the time you're seeing this, that video will have already been posted, but I was planning on filming a vlog of reading BookTube's favorite romance is published in 2014, so this is a year off. Otherwise, I could have read it for that vlog. The Princess Bride. This one is intimidating, honestly, since, I don't know, I was not planning on reading this year. I do want to, let me know in the comments if you think like soft DNFing or something like that is allowed, because I could definitely see myself trying to read it, not being in the mood, but definitely not wanting to unhaul it. So let me know. Same goes for Outlander. Like, once again, was not in my bingo board to read it this soon. This is not that long, so I get... And there's a CD here. I don't know why. What is this? I have watched, like, I believe the first season, and I loved it. So I do think I will love this. And this is definitely the shit I read nowadays, but it's just so daunting to me. Then another bigger book, but less daunting, is Blanket. It is very long, but it's a graphic novel, so I'm sure I'll fly through this one. And then these bad boys. I don't know why. Why did I do this to myself? And why have I not read them until now? So, The World of Ice and Fire. I'm for sure not unhauling these, so I have to read them. I think I'm just gonna read these in between other books and read like a couple pages a day until March, I guess. And the same goes for this book. Like, basically this, I believe, just tells you Greek gods, stories of the Greek gods. Very beautiful, but like I said, it was not on my bingo board to read it. So that is 13 books. Some of them are giant that I still need to read. And then there's two that I'm debating about. The first one is The Sky is Everywhere. Comparing it to I'll Give You the Sun, this one has a little bit lower average rating. Plus, it deals with grief, which I could like, but also a love triangle, and it's also contemporary romance, so not really my thing. But since I've heard so many good things about the author, maybe I'll give it I think I'm gonna read I'll Give You the Sun first, and that will determine whether or not I want to pick this book up. And then, of course, the program. Let's actually show you the guy I was lusting over 10 years ago. Anyway, I don't know about this one. So part of me wants to read it because it deals with a cure for suicide by erasing people's memories. So, like, me as a psychologist is interested in that premise, but me as a reader, I don't tend to read dystopian novels written in 2013 anymore. That's just not my genre. So we'll see. I guess I'll make a final decision about this one anytime in between now and when this video is uploaded, and then we'll see if I still want to read this. So wish me luck, and I'll give you the synopsis for each and every one of these books once I'm actually reading them. All right, I finished my first book for this vlog, and it's Blanket by Craig Thompson. So this is like a memoir, and it's basically a memoir in graphic novel form. And this actually has won a lot of awards. So you follow him basically growing up, and then his pivotal like relationship, his romance with a girl he met at Bible camp, and him spending 2 weeks at her place, and then a little bit of his life afterwards. Okay, that's basically what it is. Don't take this as me criticizing his life, because obviously it's a memoir, it's about his life. But okay, let me start with what I liked. First of all, I thought the art in here was beautiful, and I honestly thought that I think it relies solely on the art for it to be an interesting story, because if it wasn't, this wouldn't have been that interesting. Because basically you follow, like, the bulk of this book, which this is almost 600 pages, is him just spending these 2 weeks with this girl. And yes, I'm a romance girly, but that was not an interesting story, really. Like, nothing really happened. And I feel like there are interesting parts to his story. This book starts off with him being very faithful and very religious because his parents are, and it ends with him not being religious, yet we never really see that. And I find that a more interesting story to follow about him. Yes, you see some glimpse of him questioning his religion. You hear her talking about her own kind of beliefs, where she believes in some parts of Christianity but not others. So I get, like, that is kind of the root, I think, of what got him started on questioning his faith. But I couldn't really jump with him to being really religious to not, because we never really got to see that. The majority was just spent him falling in love with this girl. And like I said, it was just not interesting. And I don't think this would have been as big as it was had it not been a graphic novel. Like if this was just like a sort of novella about his 2 weeks with this girl, nobody would have read it probably. Whereas I do, like I said, whereas I think the part that he spent maybe 30 pages on, I think that was the more interesting story to tell, in my opinion. And obviously I don't know for sure because we never really got that story. Once again, this is his life and he's entitled to write whatever he wants. Although, apparently he's written... Anyway, that's neither here nor there. What I also really appreciated was his raw honesty about him and his own mistakes in life. Other things that were going on that he was, like I said, very real and honest about. So I did appreciate that. But ultimately, this is just not really for me. I'm going to give it 3 stars. And now for the big question. Do I think I would have liked it had I read it 10 years ago? So would 21-year-old me would have liked it more? I don't know, maybe when it was like there was still hype for it, maybe. And now obviously we're 10 years after the hype, or more even, since this was written in 2003. Wow, this is almost, like this is 21 years old. It is old enough to drink in the US. Anyway, what was I saying? Okay, so do I think I would have liked it when I was 21? Maybe, although I don't think it would have stuck with me, since this is not really that compelling of a romance. So I did read Mouse, and that was also a memoir of sorts, like the parts of his life, and I also didn't like those. I didn't like those parts. So I don't think I would have loved it, honestly. I think it would have probably also been a 3, which is sad for me because this is a very heavy book, and this has moved with me from my parents' house to my first studio, then it moved with me to my second studio, and then it moved with me across the country from Rotterdam to Amsterdam. So if I had just read it back then and unhauled it then, this would have saved me and my parents a lot of heavy lifting during those moves. So the first one, not a success. As I'm filming this, it's actually still December. My next book I'm going to be reading in January, and probably towards the end of January. So I'm going to take a break from this vlog and then get back to it closer to the end of January. Oh yeah, before I go, actually, I wanted to tell you that I will be unhauling it. Yeah, I see no reason to keep this, so there's that. Okay, so I started The Sky is Everywhere, and I got to page 77, and I'm gonna DNF it. So this book is about Lenny, and her sister died 4 weeks ago, and this is about her grief, but also it is going to be a love triangle between her and this new boy in school and her sister's boyfriend. Young adult romances, young adult contemporaries, I don't really read anymore. Like only a few like rare ones will I read. And this, I really have no interest in reading about a young adult contemporary where there's a love triangle. I don't care. Also, I was listening to this on audiobook, and while the audiobook narrator was fine, some of the voices she did were ridiculous, so I couldn't really listen to it any longer. And that combined with the fact that I'm not really enjoying this too much, I'm just gonna dip out because I need to read a lot of books for this vlog, and this one, I just don't foresee this getting any higher rating than a 3-star, if I'm lucky, which it's just the fact that it's a contemporary romance with a love triangle. I don't know. I don't think it's gonna get a 3-star. I think it's gonna get less than that, so I'm just gonna dip out. And to really solidify my choice, I started reading some reviews, and the people that give it the lower ratings have similar issues with it that I do. When was this written? In 2010. And sometimes you can really, like some of the words used, I'm like, yeah, no, like teenagers don't speak like that nowadays. So we're gonna DNF this one, and I'm gonna unhaul it. The reviews I read that didn't really like this one, and that have also read her other book, which I believe I don't really remember since I filmed my reaction so long ago. I think her other book is also gonna be in this vlog. They prefer the other book, so I'm gonna still be reading the other book, but this one I gave it the good old college try. I gave it 77 pages, and I'm just gonna cut my losses, and DNF it. So while reading books for this vlog, I actually went on vacation to Bonaire. There are 2 updates. So it's not really chronological because for Outlander, I have my first update in Bonaire, and for The Young Elise, I also have my first update in Bonaire. Every other update for those books are in the Netherlands, so nothing I can do about that, of course, but I did take a lot of clips while on vacation. Editing, I will figure out how she's gonna structure this, but just know that the vacation clips you see are of Bonaire, which I would highly recommend. If you can go on vacation to Bonaire, I would highly recommend it because it's so much fun.
Now he's thinking about me every night. Oh, is it that sweet? I guess so. Say you can't sleep, baby, I know. That's that me espresso. Move it up, down, left, right, oh. Switch it up like Nintendo. Say you can't sleep, baby, I know. That's that me espresso. I can't relate to desperation. Might give a fuck. Are on vacation. And I got this one boy, and he won't stop calling when they act this way. I know I got him. Too bad your ex don't do it for you. Walked in and dream came true for you. Soft skin and not perfume for you. Yes, I know I'm out and do it for you. Yes, that morning coffee brewed for you. Yes, one touch and I'm brand new for you. Now he's thinking about me every night. Oh, is it that sweet? I guess so. Say you can't sleep, baby, I know. That's that me espresso. Move it up, down, left, right, oh. Switch it up like Nintendo. Say you can't sleep, baby, I know. That's that me espresso. Holy shit. Is it that sweet? I guess so. I'm working late, cause I'm a singer. Oh, we look so cute, wrapped around my finger. My twisted humor, make him laugh so often. My honeybee, come and get this pollen. Too bad your ex don't do it for you. Walked in and dream came true for you. Soft skin and not perfume for you. Yes, I know I'm out and do it for you. Yes, that morning coffee brewed for you. Yes, one touch and I'm brand new for you.
Stupid.
Now he's thinking about me every night. Oh, is it that sweet? I guess so. Say you can't sleep, baby, I know. That's that me espresso. Move it up, down, left, right, oh. Switch it up like Nintendo. Say you can't sleep, baby, I know. That's that me espresso. Thinking about me every night. Oh, is it that sweet? I guess so. Say you can't sleep, baby, I know. That's that me espresso. Move it up, down, left, right, oh. Switch it up like Nintendo. Say you can't sleep, baby, I know. That's that me espresso. Is it that sweet? I guess so. That's that me espresso.
Last night, all I think about is you. Don't stop, baby, you can walk too. Don't want, baby, think about you. You know that I'm never gonna lose. Sometimes all I think about is you. Late nights in the middle of June. Heat waves been faking me out. Can't make you happier now. Sometimes all I think about is you. Late nights in the middle of June. Heat waves been faking me out. Can't make you happier now. Usually I put something on TV, so we never think about you and me. But today I see our reflections clearly in Hollywood, laying on the screen. You just need a better life than this. You need something I can never give. Fake water dreaming of when you sleep and smile so comfortable. I just wish that I could give you that bad look that's perfectly unsaid. Sometimes all I think about is you. Late nights in the middle of June. He waves been faking me out. He waves been faking me out. Sometimes all I think about is you. Late nights in the middle of June. He waves been faking me out. Can't make you happier now. Sometimes all I think about is you. Late nights in the middle of June. He waves been faking me out. Can't make you happier now.
Okay, you're how do you pronounce that? Precariously placed on my back. So we'll see how long it takes until this falls. So I started Outlander here in Bonaire, which is where I'm at. So this is going to be my book that I'm going to read in between all the other books since it's so long. So I'm actually still debating whether I want to do all those updates back to back, or if I'm gonna just update you every once in a while in between the other books. I don't know, we'll see. Before I get started on my update, I will tell you why I'm here. So actually I'm working. So I'm here for 2 weeks. The first week I'm working. So we arrived on Saturday and Sunday was a chill day. And then today is Monday and today was actually our first day. Yeah, so I work today and we're gonna be working until Friday. And then after that it's gonna be vacation. I'm gonna stay until next Friday. So yeah, basically Sunday we just chilled on the beach the whole day. I actually got burned a bit. I don't know if you can see that. Is that clear? Wait, maybe if I do that. I don't know, but I did get burned. Oh yeah, I think if I do that, yeah, you can see it. Anyway, and then today after work, we also went to the beach, as you can see by my wet hair. So I'm just having the best time. What I'm not loving so much is Outlander, however. And so I did watch the first season of Outlander like years ago. The problem that I'm not enjoying. Okay, so I'm only on page 67, which obviously is the beginning of the book still. I'm still on part 1. Let me see. Yeah, of course, I'm still on part 1. Yeah, I'm still like on chapter 2, basically. But I'm bored with Frank because I don't care about him. Okay, I care about Jamie Fraser. And I have a feeling it's going to take such a long time before we actually get Jamie. So yeah, I'm not enjoying that. But like I said, I'm reading it in between other books. So I don't know, I guess it's fine. But yeah, every time, especially when they have like a romantic time, I just don't care. That has happened twice already. I'm like, okay, can we move on? I don't care about this. So yeah, I'm like patiently waiting for Jamie to enter the picture, Jamie and his kilt. So we'll see. So I don't think I can update you a lot until we get to Jamie, and then I'll probably will update you so many times. So yeah, those are my thoughts for now. So I just finished Outlander, and even though you're seeing this like in the middle of the vlog, this is actually the last book I had to read for this vlog. I'm gonna give this book, I'm still debating. I think I'm gonna give it 3 stars. Before you get offended if you're an Outlander girly, I 100% understand why people fall in love with this series. I do. And even though, yes, I'm a character-driven reader, I'm not 100% a character-driven reader. Like I need, like for a book to actually be 5 stars for me, yeah, it needs to have good characters. I need to root for the characters for sure, but I also need like an engaging plot and a more faster paced plot than this one. I feel like this had way too many words. Like it just didn't need to be this long, in my opinion. Okay, so this is the special edition, which is 640 pages. My ebook version had over 1,000 pages, and in my opinion, it just didn't need to be that long. If you look at all the actual events that happened, it could have been condensed so much more. But Diana really loves to ramble on, and that's just not my favorite thing. So I will be keeping this for sure because it's beautiful, it's iconic, and I do, like, this did make me want to watch the TV show again. But I know I will not continue on with this series because I don't have the patience for it. She does very well with the characters. I do feel like I know Jamie and Claire through and through, and I cannot even imagine if you read this entire series, like, you will know them better than any other person in your life probably. So once again, I can understand why people love this series so much, and especially if you started reading this book in the 90s. And she's still publishing, then yes, I can definitely understand why this is so beloved. But this is just not for me. Like, other things are for me, and this is just not one of them. Maybe one day I might go back to it. And I don't have any ill will towards it because, I don't know, I felt like while reading it, it did make me feel cozy and it gave me like warm feelings. But at the end of the day, if I really look at everything that happened, it just didn't need over 8,000 pages to describe all that. And yes, I read other books that were just as long. I don't know, I feel like those were a bit more romance forward than this one. And I guess I don't really have a lot of strong opinions about it. That's why it's a 3-star. I'm also a bit tired because this vlog needs to go up now. Like, it has been in the making for far too long. I want to be done editing it and just putting it up. So I feel I'm gonna just leave it here for now. If I have more concrete thoughts that I really want to talk about, then I'll just talk about it in my next recent reads. And I think the next book I'm gonna actually start is gonna be The Young Elites, I think. Yeah, I wanna read a fantasy too, so I think I'm gonna start The Young Elites next. So I think I'll have more of a substantial update for that book. So yeah, I'll talk to you then. Okay, so this is my last day in Bonaire. I'm actually flying tonight and will be arriving the next day in the Netherlands. I really have not been reading a lot, I have to say. I've been here for a little bit less than 2 weeks, and the first week more than the first. Like, I've only been here by myself for, like, this is the second day basically. So I've been with my colleagues the whole time, and yes, there were opportunities to read, but I chose to watch YouTube videos instead, or just talk to my colleagues instead, or just go swimming instead. And that's completely fine. I did manage to start The Young Elites, which obviously I didn't grab the spine. Also, this book got water damage, so part of me is sad about that, but then a part of me is like, well, you know, that tends to happen when you take your book with you to the beach. So I'm actually on page 115, and this doesn't have, like, it does have chapters, but no chapter numbers, I guess. Yeah, I'm about 1/3 of the way through. So this book is based on Venetian times or something. I don't know. All these characters have like Italian names. I think I looked it up because I was confused. Let me see. It is set in an alternate fantasy version of Renaissance Italy. Okay, so this book really reminds me of a lot of popular new releases. Think along the lines of Powerless, for example. Yeah, but also like One Dark Window. Yeah, I think those two. And I do remember when I read Powerless, which I'll leave that vlog linked for you, I did compare it to The Young Elites. But anyway, this, after like a blood fever strikes the land, this fever kills all the adults, and the surviving children, most of them get these special abilities. I have to say, I am not that clear. I'm still not sure how these powers work, but and this apparently is a villain origin story. So you follow Adelina, and she lives alone with her father and her sister didn't have this blood fever, but Adelina does. And what this blood fever also does is it gives you like a mark or something. Like, she lost her eye while she's technically very beautiful, just as beautiful as her sister. She's marked by this blood fever. She gets abused by her father because he hates her. Well, technically he wants her to also have these powers so he can use her, but in the beginning of the book, it seems like she does not have these powers. But then when her father goes too far, I believe, oh yeah, so what happens is like one of these rich merchants doesn't want to have her for a wife, but because you cannot have these marked girls as a wife. He wants to have her like for a mistress, even though she is like too young to actually get married or stuff like that. Her father actually sells her to him, and she overhears and she ends up fleeing. And then when her father goes after her, she ends up killing him with her powers. She can summon illusions, have your worst fear come to life, basically. She's sentenced to death, so the Inquisition saves her, or wants to burn her at the stake. And then she gets saved by Enzo, who turns out to be also a young elite, and also the heir to the throne, but his sister exiled him basically, and she took over the throne, she alongside her husband. You do get, like, this is a multi-POV story because you get Adelina's chapters, you get chapters from Enzo, from Raffaele, and from Taran. Yeah, and even though this is technically young adult, it doesn't feel like that because, for example, Raffaele, the guy I just talked about, he is a prostitute, basically. He basically gathers information for these young elites. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel like it's young adult in the same way Throne of Glass was young adult in the first couple of books. So still like younger characters. I'm not sure. Obviously, I've not read a lot of it yet. But yeah, in that book, there was also violence. There was also prostitutes, obviously. Also, do you like my necklace? I fucking love this necklace. It's so cute. And this was for a good cause because the store... everything in the store, if you buy something, then it goes to the turtles, basically saving the turtles, and I'm all for saving the turtles. So yeah, that is basically everything I read so far. I am enjoying it. Like I said, I like that it reads a bit more adult than the usual young adult books. I feel like it, like, even though this was written, let me see when, 2014, I feel like it is just as relevant today as it has ever been. And especially since what's going on in the world, you know, with Gaza, stuff like that. But also in the fact that like a lot of popular books that are coming out, like in 2025, 2024, 2023 even, they have similar themes as this one. So I'm enjoying it very much. Italy is one of my favorite countries to visit. So to have this based like in an Italian setting, I don't mind one bit. So yeah, I'm just going to continue reading, and I guess you'll get my final thoughts when I'm back in the Netherlands. So I just finished The Young Elites, and this has taken me a while to finish, I'm pretty sure. Let me see when I started it. I started it on July 20th, and I finished it on August 9th. So this is the first book in her Young Elites trilogy, and basically this is like a villain origin story. So you... Oh no, I already talked to... sorry, confused. So I just finished it and I'm going to give it 3 stars. And I decided I'm not going to continue on with this series. There's plenty of other series that I'm just like more intrigued by. This was fine in my opinion. I probably should have just read this book when it came out. There's nothing really wrong with it, but I just am looking for a bit more romance in my life. And this is obviously not a like romantic book at all. Yes, there's a bit of romance in here, but doesn't really end in an HEA, nor do I think it will end in an HEA. And this just feels, even though it's set in a fantasy world, it feels very much dystopian. There's 2 factions against each other, and I don't know. I feel like right now where I'm at with my reading, I like that type of premise, but I just like more focus on the romance. That's just who I am as a reader. I just need to accept that. And while I did like a lot of things about this book, I think Marie Lu is a great author. Like, I think she is very creative with her world. And I do like how some things in here were like a bit different in how like it plays with your pretty much your preconceived notions and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I don't think I'll remember this book. I'm not that intrigued to find out what is gonna happen next, and I'm gonna be unhauling it. To be honest, I think I would have been fine had I not read this book. But I do think it is for a lot of other people. Like, I do think it would still stand the test of time, in my opinion, because there's a lot of other romanticises, recent romanticises, that are similar to this. So if you like those books, or if you didn't like those books because they were so romance forward, then I think pick this book up, because it's a similar premise, but with less romance. And also it's a villain origin story, and I do know a lot of people love that type of premise. So definitely check this out if you're interested in that. But if you're like me and very much a romance girly or a romantasy girly, then I would say just skip this one. I also decided to DNF the program. Let me pick it up right here. And I thought I had done an update for it, but I didn't. And actually just talked about this in my recent reads video. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the clip for my recent reads video in here. I'm gonna be saying this exact same things anyway, so I'll leave that here. I look the exact same because I just filmed it. I listened to this book mostly. So basically this is a dystopian world where at this time there's an epidemic of teenagers committing suicide. So to try and combat that, any teenager who displays like sadness or depression, they get sent to this program where they will basically get their minds erased. So then like the goal is to have less teens committing suicide, but obviously it will just have the adverse effect. And you follow Sloane, whose brother committed suicide. So her parents are very much keeping an eye out for her all the time. They're very strict, and they basically will do anything to keep her alive. She has a boyfriend who was also her brother's best friend. They basically are the only ones the other one has. Eventually, she will get into the program, basically. That is basically where I got to. I believe like a page 180 or something. So yeah, I basically read about 50 pages of her in the program. And like I said, I was listening to it. In the beginning, I was really enjoying it. I was walking a lot and listening to it at the same time. And I was like, it wasn't going to be my favorite. I knew it was never going to be a 5-star, but I was intrigued. The premise was very intriguing to me. I studied psychology, so obviously this is basically my bread and butter. I find it very interesting. I think if I had just continued on my walks and listened to it at the same time, I would have finished it, and probably it would have been a 3-star. But at one point I just stopped walking, and then I just never really was intrigued enough to pick the audiobook back up and listen to it. And then, because I started this actually at the end of May, and then the beginning of August, I just decided, you know what, I haven't listened to this in a month and a half. I probably should just let it go. So that's what I did. It wasn't bad by any means. I just think I probably should have either just read it when I bought it, or I should have just continued listening to it an hour every day or something, and then I would have finished it like a month ago, but I didn't do that. So I'm blessing and releasing it basically. So as you could see, I'm gonna be DNFing this, and I'm gonna be unhauling both this one and the sequel. Goodreads is so fucking slow. The program and the treatment. So I read and finished More Than This by Jay McLean, and actually I finished it like 5 days ago. But I don't know what's really going on with me. I just really didn't want to film anything. So when I got to like the 100-page mark, I really didn't want to film an update. And then when I finished it, I actually had a lot of thoughts, but I didn't want to be on camera. Sometimes that happens, and that's okay. So here I am. This is the first book in the More Than series by Jay McLean. I believe there are like 4 books out there, and it's like a friend group, and each book follows like a different member from the friend group. And this book you follow Michaela and Jake, and they meet when Michaela thinks that she has one of the worst nights of her life. They meet when Michaela walks in on her best friend and her boyfriend cheating with each other on her. And Jake walks like behind her, and he sees what's happening. Michaela breaks up with both of them basically, and it's actually her prom night and also Jake's prom night. They are in different schools, so he invites her to just tag along with his prom night. She does. She meets his friends. It seems like, even though obviously what happened very much sucks, it seems like the night is salvaged a bit. And then when he drops her off at home, she finds out that her house is on fire and both her parents plus her little sister have died. That is basically the premise. So she has no one now. She can't go to her best friend because her best friend hasn't even asked her about her parents. And she can't go to her ex-boyfriend because she doesn't want to. So Jake, is the knight in shining armor. He helps her. He invites her to live at his parents' house with him until she can kind of figure out what she's gonna do, how she's gonna get to college, basically. And in the meantime, it's their romance. Jake is, well, he's technically American, but he grew up in Australia, so he has an Australian accent. I listened to this for the most part on audiobook, and I was listening to it while I had a deep clean of my bathroom, which I hate doing. And that is really the only reason why I finished this book, because I gave this book a 1 star. If you know me, that rarely happens. Usually if I really didn't like a book, it gets a 2, but this one got a 1 star for me, and this is my final call with Jay McLean. Her other book I read, I believe I also gave a 1 or a 2 star. I just don't like her writing. I don't like her characters, so this is gonna be my last book by her. I also don't own any other books by her, so that's good. I had so many issues with this book. Where do I even start? First of all, okay, so this, obviously, it takes place at the end of... So it's technically a new adult book because it takes place at the end of high school, going into college. I don't know why I felt the need to mention that, but that is basically these characters are a bit younger, so I would have given them grace, except these characters really didn't deserve any grace. And also, I just feel like it was so unbelievable that people would behave this way, you know what I mean? So first of all, I 100% believe that this is a relationship based on a trauma bond, and I don't think this will stand the test of time at all. I don't believe it, because he was the savior, really the knight in shining armor, and she needed him because she lost everything in her life. She lost everybody in her life. So I really did not believe in this romance at all, because I just don't think these two work together. I mean, on the one hand, I don't, but on the other hand, I do, because these two are equally annoying and infuriating. Why is that such a hard word for me to say? Let's talk about Jake first. First of all, he seems like he's the good guy, but really all I was reading is the beginning of a very abusive relationship. But because the way this guy was so unbelievably jealous, if some other guy so much as looked at her, and the way he was so unhinged about that too, I was like, this is just red flag after red flag after red flag. I did not root for them at all. Even though Michaela also annoyed me, I wanted to just leave him and run while she still could. But then, like I said, I found her to be equally annoying. Like I said, both of them were so jealous. Anytime somebody just talked to the other one, they would get so irrationally angry. And Michaela would just slut shame any girl who talked to Jake. She didn't even, the girls didn't even have to touch him or anything, and she was already slut shaming them. The amount of slut shaming in this book is off the charts. And I get that this book was written in 2013, so obviously we have progressed somewhat in that department, but I don't give it grace just because it was written in 2013. That is bad enough. But the fact that she didn't even want to be with him, because obviously she just lost her entire family. She wasn't ready to jump into a relationship, yet anytime Jake would even entertain somebody else, she would get unhinged and get so jealous, and that would just grate on my nerves so fucking bad. And even though this book was short, and that is really the only other reason I finished it, because if this was 262 pages, if this was over 300, I think I would have DNF'd it, because it was also very repetitive, even though it was very short. So basically, this was the plot after everything I described. So once these two were trying to make it work, I guess, one of them would get irrationally jealous, then they would fight, then they would make up. Then Michaela would say something along the lines of, no, he's not my boyfriend, or we are not together. Then Jake would get angry, and then one of the two would get irrationally jealous again, and then we start the whole cycle up again. Like I said, on the one hand, I wanted both of them to just leave each other alone, because obviously they were so toxic for each other. But then the other hand, I'm like, you two deserve each other, because who else could put up with your annoying bullshit? the repetitiveness was clear in their like romance. It was also in the writing. Like the amount of time the words more than this were written boggles the mind. Also, there was something else, and I know these are younger characters, I get that, but sometimes they would say things and I'm like, wait, you're supposed to be like 18 or something, or 17 or 19 or whatever. You sound like you're 12. And I can't for the life of me remember what that little sentence was they used, but that would also just grate on my nerves. And I don't really care to really look it up, to be honest. The writing was really lazy because, I'm sorry, I'm sure it has happened to somebody somewhere out there, but how can you, like, I'm sorry, you cannot convince me that on the same night this girl finds her best friend cheating with her boyfriend, also is on the same night, like, everybody in her family dies. Like, how does that happen to one person? Like, that is just unbelievable to me. And talking about lazy writing, like, there is basically a villain in here, and the way that person was portrayed, it was like unrealistic, unbelievable. Like, how could you write that and think, nailed it? How could anybody be like that? And how could, okay, listen, I'm sorry, I'm gonna spoil it. It was written in 2013. I would never recommend this, but if you were gonna read it, you would already read it. There's so many better books out there right nowadays. So basically, her best friend, the girl who cheated on, she turned into even a worse character. Like, what kind of villain she turned into. And that was just everything that happened in like the last pages was just so unbelievable to me. And the fact that, like, I'm sorry, it says something about you, Michaela, that you are best friends with this girl who wouldn't even ask you how you were doing after your parents died. People that she has known almost her entire life. Like, when, like, I didn't even know what actually happened, like, in the last, I hadn't, by that point, I hadn't even read the last chapters. But before that, I was already, I'm sorry, Kayla, I'm kind of starting to judge you for never seeing what kind of shitty person she was, okay? Anyway, I know I sound harsh because technically a girl who literally lost her entire family, I get that, but the reason I can do that is because it just felt, these two didn't feel like real people to me. Like, they felt like poorly written characters, so I just couldn't find any sympathy for them at all. And like, the side characters were more interesting, but I will never pick any, like, I will not read the other books in this series. I'm gonna DNF it. It is a wonder that I didn't DNF this book. So yeah, I don't know if I made any sense. I should have just done my update for it right after I finished, but I was even angrier at this book then than I am now. So I just feel like I just wasted my time listening to this book when I just could have been using my time more productively. So yeah, those are my thoughts. I would not recommend it at all. I'm gonna be unhauling this, and I feel sorry for the person who reads this book after me. Oh yeah, one thing I forgot to mention is this really has the worst case of insta-love known to man. Like, he literally thought in his head, I love her, after a day. And I'm like, how? Like, why? Why do you love her? Like, this does not make any sense whatsoever. I don't believe in this romance at all. It just was bad. It just really was bad. It was, and I think I've said enough. If you want more people raging, just read the 1-star Goodreads reviews. I'm glad it's out of my life now. I'm gonna be unhauling this as soon as, like, this needs to get out of my house. Okay, goodbye to you. So it sucks that I have to end on a bad note with this book, but here we are. I did my outro earlier this day. Okay, so let me actually talk about every book I read for this vlog and what I'm gonna do with those books. Let me see if I can remember which ones I started with. Actually, I can check. So the first book I read for this vlog was Blankets. This one I gave 3 stars. I should have already unhauled it since I read it in December, but I haven't gotten around to it yet. This one I will be unhauling. The next book I read was The Sky is Everywhere. I DNF'd that book and I already gave it to a colleague of mine, so I don't own it anymore. So it's already unhauled. Then the next book I read for this vlog was Outlander, which actually this one I'm currently reading. But either way, since it's so beautiful and since it's such an iconic book, I will be keeping this one. Then I read The Young Elites, which I gave 3 stars. I will be unhauling this one. Then I started the program, which I DNF'd. So that means I will be unhauling both the program and the treatment. So those are 2 books off my shelves. And last and unfortunately least was More Than This by Jay McLean. This one I gave 1 star. I loathed this book, so I will be unhauling it. So that is actually interesting because of the 6 books I was supposed to read in this vlog, I'm gonna be unhauling 6 because obviously I'm unhauling the second book. So actually of the 6, I unhaul 5 plus 1 sequel, and the only one I'm keeping is Outlander. So I actually didn't think that that would be the case, but here we are. Now for the books I'm gonna be reading for the next vlog, which, like I said, let me actually see, although please don't hold me to this. The plan is for now to actually finish this vlog, the next vlog for it, at the beginning of October. If it's not the beginning, it will definitely, I'm gonna make an effort to finish it in October, since the first part of this read and unhaul just took me way too long. So the books I'll be reading for that vlog are The Shock of the Fall by Nathan Filer, Talon by Julie Kagawa, I'll Give You the Sun by Jandy Nelson, The Princess Bride by William Goldman, All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr, The World of Ice and Fire, which actually this one I already started. I'm on page 15. So the plan was actually to finish this for this vlog, but I couldn't take this giant book with me to Bonaire. So I will be slowly making my way through this and hopefully finishing it in October. And last but most certainly not least is Percy Jackson's Greek Gods. So this is my TBR for the next vlog, which I'm biting myself in the ass because these are like the more difficult ones, like the bigger books, the more daunting ones. Because in this vlog, the only really daunting one was Outlander. But this one has like the 2 giant coffee table books plus The Princess Bride. So yeah, I just dropped all of them. I am glad I did this video because some of these books have been on my shelves for such a long time, and I'm just happy that I gave them a try. And yes, this might, I mean, what is successful really? Like, and on the one hand, it's not that successful because I'm gonna only be keeping 1 out of the bunch I read. But then that just makes room for books I'm actually excited about, because if I'm being honest, if I look at this pile, only these 2 are books that I would read now. Like, the majority of the books I read now are either fantasy romances or just romances in general. So these do fit, and these just don't anymore. These are just not the type of books I read. I'm kind of dreading the next video because those are also not really my genre of books anymore. But I mean, it is good that I at least gave them a try because they could have been some of my favorites. These just didn't really end up being that. So yes, I really hope you enjoyed this video. Definitely let me know what you want me to do for like the next reaction. Do you want me to just continue reacting to like the next book haul, or do you want me like to switch it up? I'm fine either way. I kind of want to switch it up really because it just keeps it exciting for me and hopefully makes it not the same kind of books over and over again, you know what I mean? If you're down there, leave me some sort of like calendar emoji because this has been a long time coming now. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Definitely let me know by leaving a like if you did. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.